When the first light of the dawn spills over the boulders, Hampi awakens, a land carved by time itself, where each stone seems to breathe and heavy shadow whispers a forgotten hymn. Here, air feels ancient yet alive. This is not a place that you visit, it is a place that visits you. It stays quietly somewhere in your heart long after you have left. Hampi's landscapes looks like a painter's dream, giant stones balanced like thoughts of the divine. Each turn in the path reveals another secret, archways that open into the infinite skies. Silent courtyards wrapped in peace and the sound of the wind weaving through pillars like a timeless melody. Nature and architecture don't compete here, they converse. The mountain, the carving, the river, all part of one grand design written in the stone and sunlight. Hampi is poetry without paper. Even texture tells a story, from the cracks in the stone to the carving that still holds the warmth of the sculptor's hand. The rhythm of this land is subtle yet powerful. It does not shout in greatness, it simplifies, exists proudly and eternally. Walk a little further and you feel time folding. As if centuries have blended into the breeze, you do not just see the beauty here, you feel it in your chest. In the afternoon light, Hampi turns to gold, the rock shimmers like molten bronze, and the air grows still, as if the time itself takes a pause to admire what it has created. Somewhere a river hums quietly, somewhere the call of a distant bird echoes between stone. You begin to understand this is not just a history you are standing in, it's harmony, the perfect balance between man, nature, and divinity. And when the sun begins to sink, Hampi transforms once again. Sky turns into a masterpiece, streaks of fire, gold, and rose, bleeding into the twilight blue, shadows stretched long, wrapping and land in mystery. Every silhouette glows, the stones and the trees, the silent structures standing proud against time, endless march. In that quiet hour, you realize this land is alive. It listens, it remembers, and it still dreams. And as the stars begins to shimmer above the soft chant rises in the distance, a temple glows. Its tower reaching of the heavens, its heart still beating with the faith and fire. It stands as the eternal guardian of the Hampi spirit, where devotion meets design and silence becomes song. Next in our journey will be continued with Virupaksha Temple. So let's start the overview of the Virupaksha Temple. In the silent ruins of Hampi, amid scattered stones that once sang the glory of the Vijayanagara Empire, stands the magnificent Virupaksha Temple, a living shrine that has survived the test of time, invasion, and nature itself. This temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva, also known as Virupaksha, and the consort of goddess Pampa. Is not merely an architecture wonder, also it is one of the oldest temples in India, where rituals have continued for over unbroken 1300 years. The temple forms the spiritual nucleus of Hampi, blending the Dravidian architecture with local craftsmanship. Is towering the Gopuram, which is also the gateway of the temple, pierces the sky, guiding the pilgrims and historians alike into a realm where devotion meets design. Even today, as you step through the sacred corridors, the scent of the incense mingles with the echoes of ancient chants, reminding every visitor that the time may pass, but faith stands eternal. So now let's start with the history of the temple. The origin of the Virupaksha temple dates back to the 17th century CE during the reign of the Chalukyas of Badami. But it reached its true architectural zenith under the Vijayanagara rulers between 14th and 15th centuries. Under the King Devaraya II and Krishna Devaraya, the temple was expanded, adorned, and transformed into the grand complex that symbolized the empire's devotion to Lord Shiva and their unmatched mastery in stone architecture. It withstood the multiple invasions, including the devastating fall of the Hampi in 1565. Yet, unlike the most monuments of the region, Virupaksha never ceased to be an living temple. Even today, it continues to stand not as a relic of the past, but as the living witness, an active testament to the India's continuous thread of worship, art, and scientific architecture. So now, let's talk about the surrounding of the temple. Surrounding the temple lies a landscape that feels almost mythical. Boulder stone hills, the Tungabhadra river, and Hampi Bazaar, which one thrived with the traders, pilgrims, and scholars. Just across the river, there lies the Pampa Sarovar, which is sacred to the goddess Pampa, and nearby the Hemakutta hill, scattered with the smaller shrines, each narrating its own tale of devotion and design. The layout of the entire Hampi region follows a sacred geography, designed according to the ancient Vastu Shastra and energy principles. Every structure from mandapa to water tanks align with the astronomical and energy principles. The environment was not just scenic, it was scientifically orchestrated. The temple's main sanctum receives the sunlight directly during the special time of the year, symbolizing the divine union of nature and divinity. So now, let's talk about the festivals and rituals performed in the Virupaksha temple. The Virupaksha temple is not just a monument, it is the living rhythm of festivals, rituals, and celebrations. The most iconic is the Pahal Puja and the Pampa Devi festival, which marks the divine wedding of the Lord Shiva with the goddess Pampa. During these days, the temple transforms into the spectacle of color, sound, and devotion. Another grand event is the Car Festival, which is also called as Rathotsava, where the deities paraded through the ancient streets on massive wooden chariot, followed by music, chanting, and thousands of devotees. Even in the Mahashivratri, here is unlike anywhere else, with the night-long prayers, decorated courtyards, and feeling that seems to preach the ancient with the eternal. Even festival is a living echo of centuries old traditions, proof that even in the 21st century, faith hasn't lost its voice. So now, let's talk about the structure and engineering of the Virupaksha temple. The Virupaksha temple structure is the masterclass in ancient engineering, precision, and cosmic geometry. It has the 50-meter high gopuram dominating the skyline, built using the interlocking granite blocks without using the modern building materials. Their entire layout follows the perfect east-west axis, ensuring natural light illuminates the sanctum during the specific solstices. Inside the mandapas display intricate carving of the celestial beings, dancers, and mythological tales, all designed to narrate cosmic order through art. But perhaps most of the astonishing feature is its pinhole camera illusion, a scientific marvel where the towering the gopuram inverted shadow is naturally projected onto the inner wall of the darker chamber. Ancient engineers crafted this optical wonder centuries before where the concept of the camera was even known. This temple stands on the granite foundation, engineered to withstand both the floods from the Tungabhadra river and heat waves from the Deccan sun. It's not just architecture, Its devotion turned into design, spirituality, and crystallized into the structure. Even today, architects, archaeologists, and even engineers, not as the ruin, but as the reminders that India's ancient builders did not just build for kings, but they built for eternity. In the timeless town of Hampi, where ruins breathe stories and stone remembers centuries, there stands the majestic Virupaksha Temple, a masterpiece that does not just worship the divine, it captures the light itself. This is not just a temple, it is an ancient experiment in optics, where spirituality meets science through the brilliance of the pinhole camera effect. The towering gopuram rising above the sacred courtyard is not just an entrance, it is the heart of this marvel. Perfectly aligned, intricately carved, and designed with an architect's precision, this gopuram plays a starring role in a 1,000-year-old optical phenomenon. Step into the dimly lighted chamber of the temple, a quiet, shadowed world. A small pinhole barely visible to the eye opens towards the gopuram outside, and through that tiny slit, sunlight enters. Slowly, on the opposite wall, a miraculous sight appears, an inverted image of the gopuram formed naturally by light alone. This is pinhole camera principle, where light travels in the straight line, passes through a small opening, and projects an upside-down reflection of what lies outside. But what's truly mesmerizing here is how the shades of that inverted image change through the day. In the calm of the morning, the image glows soft and golden, faint yet divine. By noon, as sunlight intensifies, it sharpens, bright outlines and crisp shadows appear, making the gopuram structure vivid inside the temple. And as the dusk approaches, the image slowly fades into warmth and amber hues, merging back into the darkness. Each hour brings a different shade, a dance between light, time, and stone. This was not coincidence, it was precision. Ancient engineers understand how sunlight shifts and how light behaves with filter through spaces. The aperture size, the chamber's darkness, the exact height of the gopuram, all were intentionally designed to create this effect. It's architectural science disguised as devotion, while the world credits the invention of the pinhole camera to the Renaissance era. The Virupaksha had already mastered it, quietly, spiritually, and elegantly. This temple shows how ancient minds saw the divine in design, how they transformed sunlight to storytelling. Long before physics found its formulas, faith had already written them into the stone and shadow. So, the next time you stand before the gopuram of the Virupaksha temple, remember, it does not just rise towards the heaven, it reflects them. It captures light, bends it, and paints its own sacred image inside the temple walls. Because here in Hampi, the divine does not just shine, it projects.
Sa